Today's episode of the Conversation Havers podcast is brought to you by Clearwater Pressure Wash. They're a pressure washing company in the League City and Friendswood area, and they are the best in the business in the area. They'll give you an amazing, fair price for their work. They do houses, driveways, sidewalks, curbs, patios, really anything you ask of them. I've seen their videos on Instagram. The before and after is really amazing. It can really just revitalize the way your home or your patio looks. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook at Clearwater Pressure Wash, or you can email jesusv32@gmail.com and get in contact with them that way. I highly recommend them, and they are the official sponsor of the Conversation Havers podcast. Sup, everybody? Welcome to the 14th episode, I believe now, of the Conversation Havers podcast. We're kind of doing this a little bit different today. We're outside of a coffee shop in Marble Falls, Texas. So kind of a different scene from our regular recording studio that we usually use. But another thing that's a little different is today I'm not joined by Trey, but by two guys that I work with, Zach Feeney and DeVenney. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
What's up? I'm Zach.
Hello, I'm Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we work at a Christian camp up in Marble Falls, like I said, called Camp Penile. We'll be there all summer. And yeah, so what's poppin', boys?
You want to start?
Sandwich is popping. That's what's popping right now.
Yeah, so we're at this coffee shop. It's called Luminous. It's actually been voted the number one coffee shop in Texas quite a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
I
very
didn't know
good.
that.
It's literally everything here that's made. It's all super. It's your typical hipster coffee shop. Everything. I think I have a buddy that describes it as one of those places where you walk in, you order a latte, and it's one thing, and you walk in, you order a latte, and you wink and you knock, and you get something completely different. It's really good. It's really weird. These places have never necessarily been my scene, but I love coming in here. I love coming in to study, especially when I lived up here. I would just come in, study, kind of knock whatever I had to do out, and go right back up. And it's kind of sad because back in League City, there's no places I can really do that. But up here, this place always hits it for me.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Because, for college at least, for me, all I have is Starbucks. Which, not to knock Starbucks. It's a good chain, coffee, it really is. But, it's very mainstream, especially it being the only coffee shop, so you can't even have the luxury of studying.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
It's just filled to the brim with angsty college students
really
trying
is.
to, get something done.
It really is. But they do play, incredible music is what I've come to find.
Really?
Seriously, I'll Shazam, a lot of songs there, and it's these jazz quartets that are incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, I get
jazz quartets. I wasn't expecting that.
No, I know it's ridiculous. I'll name one of the songs I Shazam because it knocked my socks off.
No, please hit me with that. I'm trying to be on some good old jazz quartet vibes.
So we got one song called Imagination by the Art Pepper Quartet.
You
ready? Strange Meadowlark, Dave Brubeck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm digging some of these titles.
Yeah,
I like this.
Yeah.
All right.
I can get down and dirty to those.
Yeah.
So, especially, and it's songs like that that make me want to get a record player.
Yes.
Because I don't have one, and I really do.
I saw they were only selling them for $40 at Walmart. I was $40 for a turntable, man?
I'm saying.
That's a deal right there.
No, I agree. I feel like collecting those, just some vinyls would be really a major gig.
Oh yeah. No, that's one of those hobbies that I've always kind of wanted but I've never had.
Right. It's an expensive one, but I feel like it'd be very much worth it.
Yeah.
feel like it says a lot about you.
It says a lot about you. It's definitely like those more like hipster types that are just like, I'm gonna lay in my room and I'm gonna write poetry.
Right. Yeah.
While I listen to my turntable. But no, I do want another at Walmart. I saw they had the Guardians of the Galaxy. They had the Guardians of the Galaxy vinyl disc there, the Awesome Mix.
Yeah.
Which I thought was ironic that you have. It's meant for like a little cassette player,
right.
like a Walkman, and then everyone's putting them on vinyls.
Yeah,
now.
that's true.
Yeah, no, it's pretty dope.
That is a little ironic. I do like that it's in that it's almost like a, I mean, it being a soundtrack, it's like a compilation of like, you might as well call it like 70s compilation hits. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Like,
yeah.
Because they really did go above and beyond, at least for that soundtrack.
But getting your new music from Shazamming songs at Starbucks, that's the way to do it. I have these certain artists I listen to, and I wait for them to release something, and that's basically how I find out about new music. That's it.
Yeah. I'm a big Spotify advocate, and then the Daily Mix. And
the Daily Mix.
They have a thing you can subscribe to where they give you like they throw in like normal songs that you listen to. Then they throw in like one that fits that vibe, and it's like really good. And they have like a made for you playlist, like Discover Weekly, like based off the songs that you like. You listen to this playlist, and it gives you like really good music.
Okay, that's interesting because I'm still an Apple Music guy. I have Spotify.
Oh, really?
But like, I'm always more sticking to Apple Music. I don't know why.
Spotify's the way to go.
I think Spotify is the way to go.
Yeah, a lot of people will claim Spotify is superior. I don't know. I think maybe it's part of the complex of just like you own an iPhone, so you want to use the Apple services.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I mean, vast majority of our listeners I know come from Apple Podcasts because I check the statistics on this podcast way too much.
Well,
I think that was the only way you could listen to podcasts.
No, there's more than just that.
I will also say one thing I really do like about Spotify is that at the end of every year, the Made For You thing where they give you that's really cool. Like seeing I always want to listen to as much music as possible because I want to like have more minutes of listen to more minutes of music, like more than last year, things like that.
I like those statistics that are like, you listened to Old Town Road 843 times this month. Like, you okay there, bud?
Yeah. I remember it was like, I saw one, it was like, you listened to Crazy Frog like 12,000 times. Like, I'm calling the police. Like, why do you like Crazy Frog so much?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I'm thinking about switching over also because just the deals that you get with Spotify,
as a college
it bundles it with Hulu. Yeah,
it's really nice.
But I already have Hulu.
Yeah, I will say this. One thing that's really good about
You can
Hulu,
get it for cheaper.
I can get it for cheaper.
If you sign up with a college thing, it's only like $6 a month for the premium Spotify and Hulu.
Now, one other thing about Hulu too that is really nice is that if you sign up for it on Black Friday, you only pay $1 a month for it, and that's what I did. That's what I did.
Oh my god.
So just gonna throw that out there. That is a move and a half.
All right. No, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. My parents bought Hulu with live TV, and I'm kind of just mooching off that because that's how I get like my Texans games and all that. Like,
so that is nice.
Yeah, like, dude, I'm not lying. I lived up here for like over a year, and like, I did not get Texans games up here, and let me tell you, that was the worst for me as somebody who like has never missed a Texans game. Like, okay, maybe not ever, but like in the past 12 years, I have not missed a Texans game.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah, no. So living up in Austin, Marble Falls area, it's just super interesting. It's like, what's up? No, we got we got Aaron over here. We're recording our podcast my podcast right now. Got some guests on, but
Feeney and
yeah. Do you have any words for the people?
I would say if you are a Christian male between the ages of 18 and 25 and have no someone please apply at Camp Niall in North Falls, Texas?
Yeah. You hear that?
Yeah.
Christian males between the ages of 18 to 25, help is wanted. All right.
Thanks for having me, Collin. Appreciate it.
But, yeah, anyways.
No, I understand. Well, it's so funny because the Texans, congratulations on this last year, first and foremost.
I mean, I don't know if that's much congratulatory. We got pretty smoked in the first round of the
Still,
playoffs.
I know. I can't remember the last time I thought to myself, this team is, no offense to any Texans fans out there or Texans organization in general, but I was impressed with this last year, contrary to a lot of prior seasons.
Yeah, I think it's what they managed to do with absolutely no, offensive line and really not much expectations. They managed to win 9 straight games after starting 0-3. That's insane.
It is insane. I mean, and you have probably the most promising young quarterback, aside from maybe Baker Mayfield, in the league.
Yeah,
And the best receiver.
Baker Mayfield is, I don't know, that man, he's another Brett Favre, so.
He's ridiculous.
I don't know if I would take him or Deshaun at this point, but it is definitely, the Browns got themselves a real one, and so did we. It's just, I hope that the Texans don't waste another real one like we did David Carr all those years ago, because we can't get him an O-line.
Yeah, David Carr, that's another story of a journeyman quarterback.
Oh, Jesus. It's like one of the most hyped quarterback prospects coming out of college of all time, and the Texans are like, we want him, and we're like, yeah, yes, we got David Carr. And then, literally, we're like, oh, but we worried so much about getting David Carr and Andre Johnson, we forgot to get this man an offensive line. Oh, we need one of those. And then it's still an NFL record how much he got sacked that season.
Is it really?
In some of those early seasons. I think he holds, the first and second most times getting sacked in a season.
See, that doesn't surprise me. I know, what you just described is probably the Browns for the last forever. Honestly, I mean, they waste all these, Johnny Manziel, the dude out
Colt
of...
McCoy.
Colt McCoy, rest in peace.
Brady Quinn.
Who was the guy that was... who's the guy out of Notre Dame? I'm blanking right now.
Brady Quinn. That was Brady Quinn.
No, I'm talking about who was drafted 2 years ago.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah. He was really good in the preseason. I thought, oh man, this is the future. And then he throws 19 interceptions.
I'm pretty
and
sure
11
he's
touchdowns.
a third string on the Packers.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's on the Packers now. Poor guy. And then Baker Mayfield comes in.
Yeah. No, honestly, I thought
lights
the
out.
Browns were gonna ruin him.
I'm glad that he changed the momentum.
I mean, here's the thing: has he, or are the Browns just gonna be the Browns and disappoint everybody again?
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember what their draft looked like, but they just got Odell Beckham Jr. They have Jarvis Landry. I mean,
They seem stacked. I'm not gonna lie.
They really do, and they've always had a stout defense, no lie. And then now, I had the privilege of growing up and watching Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham just butt rinse Auburn every time we played LSU. And let me tell you, those guys together are going to combine for what feels like 100 yards every game and at least a touchdown. And that's going to be incredible. I mean, think about Jarvis isn't open. Well, there's probably a 100% chance Odell is at that point. If one of them's not open, the other one.
Those are 2 number 1 receivers right there.
It's ridiculous. So I mean, good for the Browns. Great front office.
Yeah. One of the guys we had on early in the podcast, Tony, lifelong Browns fan. Every single day, every single season throughout high school, I'd be like, Tony, how do you do it?
How do you do it?
And he would just look at me, a little bit dead on the inside. And he'd be like, I don't know how I'm still doing this. I don't know how I'm still here. But I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'm struggling through. One day this will pay off. Also, we've got a lot of cars coming through, so hopefully that's not too loud and annoying for you guys. It's a little busier than it was earlier.
It is a little busy.
But anyways, so yeah, no, I was like, man, how do you do it?
There's something else.
Man, I've heard a lot of people starting to call the Browns America's team.
Yeah.
Which is true because, like, no one wants the Cowboys to win.
Right.
Like, Cowboys are the most hated team in the country.
Right. And, like, the Browns are probably the most, like, I feel like if I'm an opposing team to the Browns, or say I'm a fan of, like, let's say, like, I don't know, the Panthers, right? And I lose to the Browns, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to kind of be like, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Zach is now finished with his sandwich, so he can probably join in on this conversation a little more.
Well, I know nothing about football, so I have no comments on any of that.
No comments on anything.
On anything, really.
What are your thoughts on Starbucks Shazam music?
On Starbucks Shazam music?
Yeah.
Sounds like a lit way to get some music.
A little way to get to. How do you find your music, Zach?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of find it.
Yeah,
Like,
it comes to me. I don't go to it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, it just kind of comes to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll find playlists or something.
Yeah.
I'll listen to that, and then I'll just save songs from that.
Right.
Okay.
So, like, if you had to, like, pick 3 songs to be, like, the soundtrack to your life, what would they be then?
Oh, dude. Without a doubt, the Me Plaza song.
The Me Plaza
From,
song.
like, when it's like... Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah. I'd say for me, it's got to be like I'm Blue Eiffel 65, mash up with Darude Sandstorm, sprinkle in a little Ocean Man in there, then you're good. Those would be the 3 that I could carry to the grave.
Oh, man.
But in all sincerity, I don't know. That's always like a tough question. When like
that-
those questions when someone's like, "What are your 3 favorite songs? Or what are your 3 favorite bands?" I don't really know how to answer that.
Yeah, it's always the hardest thing to answer whenever people are like, "What's your favorite artist?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I listen to a lot of music and stuff, and I listen to a lot of people. It's like it's really hard to choose over."
I mean, it always changes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, like a year ago, I would have probably said like Amy Winehouse or like The Smiths, something along those lines, and now it's like probably completely different. I haven't thought about it, but
Yeah.
No, I'm more into Black Bear and Juice WRLD.
Okay.
I'm more into the sad boy music.
wow. Okay, so you're the like. I don't know if I want to characterize it as emo rap.
still see your shadows in my room.
Yeah, I hate the. I was so funny actually when we were doing an expedition the other night. All these kids were like, "I hear the girls over there like Juice WRLD." I was like, "All right, whatever." That made me laugh. But yeah, no. I mean, so did you like Lil Peep?
I didn't really listen to him that much.
Yeah.
And then he died.
And then he
Yeah.
died.
then he.
And then I felt like I just had to pay my respects in some way.
You see,
Yeah.
that's how I'm going to get my podcast out, is I'm just going to kill myself.
Do go for it. Like.
Yeah, like, this thing is going to be popping once I do that.
I mean, who was it? Jeff Buckley? You know the guy who did the song Hallelujah? You know, like the popular version.
The one from Shrek?
Well, I mean, yeah. I don't know if that's his version.
That's how I know the song,
Right.
sorry.
Well, he ended up drowning. And
Whoa.
Yeah, and he did one album, and the album blew up after he died. And no one even knew of it prior to that. And that's how his Hallelujah became really famous.
I mean,
Wow,
that's
okay.
that's a big trend within like art. A lot of artists. I mean, you got Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah.
None of his art was that popular
Was it
until
really?
He
until
died
offed
believing
himself.
he was a failure.
Yeah.
Probably why he committed suicide. I mean, honestly. What about Edgar Allan Poe? Or is that yeah.
I think he was pretty famous before.
The Raven was pretty popular for a minute, I will admit.
He probably got more poppin' after he died.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking, though. When he passed
He
away.
was still pretty
popular,
famous.
and then his life went downhill.
It went downhill.
And then he died.
I mean, when
and then
everybody
it's-
you love, including your cousin, dies of tuberculosis,
Yeah.
do you ever really win?
No, like, actually, it's a trope that a lot of people are trying to stop, like, spreading, is that you only make good art when you're suffering.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of
fair.
people, unfortunately, that's, like, what a lot of people believe, but it's like, you look at, like, the story of Vincent Van Gogh is one people look to a lot. They say, okay, he only makes good art, like, he only made good art when he was in, like, a mental asylum, or, like,
Right.
living with his brother, or was it his brother? Yeah, it was his
I don't
brother.
know.
Like, these times of healing, basically. But, like, it's like, no, he wasn't making good art because he was suffering. He was making good art because he was healing.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Like, it's like Starry Night is like, he was in like a mental ward. Starry Night is the view from his window. of his like mental ward place.
I did not know that.
That's what it is.
That's kind of that kind of changed my whole outlook on it. But like, it makes me more appreciative of it, and the idea that like you characterize it as healing. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of other people would look at it as suffering.
Well, yeah, but like, it's really interesting. I actually used to. So, I don't know if I feel like I've said it on the podcast before, but I used to live in Amsterdam for 5 years, which is where Van Gogh lived.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
I did not know you lived in Amsterdam. That's really cool.
And I lived right next to the Van Gogh Museum.
Oh my God.
And so I grew up being a huge Vincent Van Gogh fan.
Wow. I love Van Gogh, but that's awesome.
And so it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Just there's so many like little details to his life story that a lot of people like don't really know. Like, it's recently come to light. Like, a lot of people don't think he killed himself anymore.
Really?
A lot of people think that he was accidentally shot, and then because he was accidentally shot, he wanted to cover up for the people that shot him, so he just claimed he shot himself. He killed himself.
I want to.
How would he?
Huh?
Never mind.
So he was trying to.
How would he like claim that if he's
he didn't die fast.
Yeah, he didn't die fast.
Okay.
It took him like 2 days to die.
That's the thing, because he was. I remember, I read a report or a story about how when he was shot, he was very well aware of what was happening. So he just smoked a cigar and just waited. Like it was just like he was ready just for it to happen.
Yeah, like if he was gonna kill himself, he would have been much more efficient.
Yeah.
So I mean, that sounds terrible, but like
right.
you know.
But it makes sense. I mean, like
so
I don't know.
It's really interesting just to see like all of another one, and this also just comes out of like watching the Elton John movie.
Yeah.
It's like that a lot of people are hating on that movie because they're like, oh, it's showing that like he was only like making good music because he was like suffering and stuff like that. And some of that's a little harder to defend, you know?
Yeah.
But also like he still made good music after.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I know. I feel like a lot of people empathize with a lot, and I know for me it's like I don't like to suffer in public. Quote.
Yeah.
But I mean, so
look how bad I'm suffering.
Yeah.
That's for emo people.
Right. And
Real men suffer on the inside.
Yeah. Repress those feelings. So, when I'm behind closed doors, I guess I can appreciate that more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do like the whole idea of the healing process. That sounds way more like I don't know. That to me sounds so much better than looking at it as suffering. Actually.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever they're suffering and stuff, and like making music, I feel like there's a lot more emotion and heart put into it rather than whenever they're like, there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I don't believe that you have to be sad to make good music, but also like being sad kind of like it helps because
it has happened.
Yeah, it comes from a place, you know.
But like I agree with like the healing thing. Like it's definitely
Well,
it doesn't have to happen is my point.
Right.
You know, like you don't if you're like trying to get yourself out there as an artist or whatever you're doing, you don't have to suffer just because you think your suffering will make your art have more value.
Right.
You know?
Oh, and to be fair, I know we're all thinking it, but suffering is just so totally glamorized in today's culture. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just like, for instance, Billie Eilish. Like, I actually like some of her music, but she does not do a good job of like trying to stray away from that norm, and that she's the embodiment of I'm a child, I'm suffering, I'm very depressed, I'm gonna make sure you know it and make music about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna be real. You've said that name before. I have no idea who Billie Eilish is.
You don't know who Billie Eilish
really?
is?
Yeah.
That's actually surprising. So, did you ever see that meme where it was like, I'm the bad guy, duh, and they're like, everybody's like dancing or whatever?
No.
No? Wow, alright. Well, she's actually pulled up a picture of Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
I've heard the name a few times.
It's a woman.
Did you know she's 15?
She's 17 now.
Oh.
Not gonna lie.
But she was 15 when she went mainstream.
Not gonna lie, the first time I heard the name, I thought it was a dude. Oh, I've seen her before.
Yeah.
I've seen her because
Like she's 17. I don't know. She's not like 15 when that picture's taken. That's like weird. She looks really old.
I've seen. Oh, this is gonna sound real bad. I remember seeing that because I saw a tweet, and it was her next to the guys from Mr. Meaty. Do you remember that show?
Oh,
and she was like, "Please stop freaking sending me this," because she looks like one of the puppets from Mr. Meaty.
I'm gonna look that up because that is actually hilarious. Dude,
It's the eyes. Like, she doesn't look like she's had enough sleep.
She will. She really does.
Somebody come give this 17-year-old girl a hug.
Yeah. You know what might be
Send me that. I'm gonna put it on the YouTube version.
Go for it.
Once again, like I said, boys, and girls, our listeners are both genders. If you want a little extra experience, come watch them YouTube versions. But no.
Bro,
I love
these flies.
I love tweet memes. Like, I saw one where it was like Barack Obama, and it was like, "Call my face a poo-poo platter because I eat Michelle's doo-doo batter," and then it was followed with, "How do you delete a tweet?" That one got me real good.
Fake tweets are always pretty
Fake
great.
tweets are really good. You know what meme I really missed though was the moth meme. Like the moth meme. No, the grape. They did surgery on a grape. Might have been my favorite.
That
meme.
was funny the first day or two, but that's not a meme that you can overdo like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
It got so overdone so fast that I was like, this is not good anymore. We've got some motorcyclists with probably absolutely massive penises passing us right now. It's a running joke that I always do is whenever I see somebody with a loud car or loud engine, I'm always like, man, I bet that person has a huge penis.
You would hate to live in Alabama because every car, or I know, even some of my close friends have souped up trucks that are
I
know they're
this
everywhere.
is Texas, boy.
I know, I'm aware. I'm just saying. Even it does get old. They turn on the car and they go, "You hear that?" Yeah.
By the way, if y'all didn't know, Don is from Alabama.
Yeah, I'm from Alabama. I should have clarified that.
Yeah.
I go to Auburn University in Alabama. Yeah.
But one time, I was driving down the street with my ex-girlfriend. Well, obviously we were dating at the time, and we didn't really know each other that well when this happens. It's probably second date.
Oh Lord.
This dude in a souped up Mustang, not a souped up Mustang, a cut muffler Mustang, passes us by, and it's just loud, obnoxious, and I just look over and I go, I bet that guy has the biggest penis known to man. And she just looks at me and she goes, why would you say that? I'm like, oh God. I'm sorry.
See, it's so funny you actually say that because this is just in referendum to all that.
Yeah,
no,
it looks like a, what is that, a Ford F450 or something?
Yeah, it's like a 550, a 650, maybe even a 1050 for all I know.
Oh gosh.
That's too much.
It is.
No, that's like my high school parking lot.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, everybody drives trucks. I was the only person that drove a Lexus. Yeah. And stuff.
Oh, just flex on us, why don't you?
Yeah. Oh no, it was a '98. So.
It was a '98.
I ain't trying to flex too hard.
Hey guys, I'm Zach. I'm driving my '98 Lexus.
But no, the school parking lot was just always a competition of who had the biggest penis, and it was just a bunch of people just revving their engines, trying to prove how loud their cars were, doing donuts in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be up front. I mean, I have a really small penis. It's just I don't really. I drive a sedan.
Have you seen my car?
Was it with you when we passed? So, here in Marble Falls, there is a Walmart, obviously, because it's a small white town. there's a Walmart. And in this Walmart, because it is a small white town, there is a large gathering of teenagers with big trucks who just sit there and play music. Mm-hmm. Was this your car that we did it with?
Yeah.
And so one day we come out of the movie theater, we see them. We're just pissed off. I guess because they're idiots. And it's me, Zach, and another guy. And we just drive right by him, and Zach's like old, beat up 98 Lexus. And Zach like puts it in neutral and just starts blaring the gas like as loud as he can, like slowly like rolling by these kids. They're just staring at us, and we're like just dying laughing because like they're trying to show off. We're just being like I said, we are in a small 98 white Lexus, like blaring the engine as loud as that poor thing can go. Like,
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
See,
and it couldn't go far either.
Yeah,
that engine was not loud at all.
It's like a
driving
a lawnmower.
Driving a weed
that lawnmower.
eater.
No, I feel that. See, like my old car, I have a really horrifying story about neutral in my old car. It's actually horrifying for me, not for y'all. So I was driving and I was playing like a song, and it must have been a really good song because I was getting down and dirty to it. And in my car, the gear shift was right by the steering wheel, and for some reason I felt compelled to hit the most gnarly whip of all time. When I hit my whip, I whipped it into neutral, and I didn't know it. And so I was like, "Oh my god, I broke my car!" I'm like hitting the gas pedal.
Whip too hard, broke my car.
I mean, I just yeet it into neutral.
Can't fix swag.
You really can't.
But no, it's. Sorry, there's a bang on the window. But no, it's. I wish sometimes I want to be the guy that has like subs in my car and just like booling out.
That was me.
Like, I don't care how loud your car's engine is. Show me how loud your car's subs are, then we can talk.
No, I definitely agree with that. I don't know.
I care more about my sound system than I do how loud my car is.
Right.
Yeah.
I care about the quality of music I listen to rather than the quality of my engine sound.
Also, your car, we were talking about this yesterday. Your car has is insanely loud, just like default sound system.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's pretty
we'll have to
impressive.
listen to it on the way back.
Say on the way back, I'm very
Like
down.
for just like something that came like as a default system, it's pretty good. Like,
I'm pretty sure it's all stock in there because we did get it from like a guy, and I don't know if he did any modifications to it, but I'm pretty sure it's all stock.
Yeah.
I love the character though of like a car that's like made prior to the like 2005 or 2004. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's something about it. Like it's just something homey. Like,
Yeah.
Like for instance, like I remember this is kind of like weird or whatever, but there's a song called Saturn '02, and the whole point of the song is like this dude had a Saturn '02, like growing up, and
Yeah.
like that was like he associates that car with all those old memories he had growing up. So like when I think back to like I used to drive an old Honda CR-V from '03, when I whipped into neutral, and like every time I see a CR-V, my thoughts immediately go back to all that, and I think that's really neat.
I don't do that with cars. I do that with like music.
I definitely do that with music. It's so funny actually because I used to, when I was in college, there was one night I was like really bored, so I like made like I went through all the seasons from like high school to like where I was then, and I associated each season with an album.
Oh,
and it was really neat. Yeah.
That's cool. I might do that with like a few individual songs. I don't do it with the whole album.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not the biggest album listener.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Like,
fair.
I'll listen to like a few songs off of each album, but I'll listen if a new album that I'm excited for drops. I'll listen to it all the way through.
Right.
That's probably the only time I ever will.
Right.
Which, you know, is some people will be like blasphemy, but like that's just how I be sometimes, and like I can't really. I used to be one of those guys that just didn't listen to music.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of people would be like, "How could you?" Like, music is the greatest thing of all time. Like,
I don't trust people like that.
hey, well, you trusted me for years, so.
Okay, well,
You didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't know better.
I only knew Collin without his phone.
This
from
is
church
true
camp.
from church camp. Yeah, church camp.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, like, literally, I did not listen to music that often. I was like, I didn't understand how people could listen to music and get like an emotional reaction from it. And I still don't really get a huge emotional reaction from music. There are some songs, we were talking about this,
we were
Don,
actually very much talking about this.
Fix You by Coldplay.
Yeah.
If you don't like cry a little bit while listening to that song, I don't trust you as a person.
Right.
But like, it's not often that songs really get to me in any sort of way besides like just getting me hyped, you know?
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, again, it really depends on the season that I'm in. Like mood-wise, like if I'm sad, like then like there's songs that like I use, I won't use it forward, I listen to, and then just things in that regard, like for, I don't know, like we talked about this too, for me all I need was that song, How I Felt, about Emotion by Radiohead. I don't know, that just, I do agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, so like I get it now, like I can understand how people feel the emotional reactions. It just doesn't hit me. Like I'm never gonna say like music saved my life, because it didn't. It's just like I wish it did sometimes. Like I wish I could relate to that, but I just don't. One interesting. Sorry, I'll let you say what you were gonna say. Just a sec.
I said I was definitely one of those people, like in like junior high and high school. I was super emo. Collin kind of knew.
You were totally emo.
I
still loved you.
I was the kid that listened to like Pierce the Veil and like super screamo, and I would just be like,
you want to hear the new Blackville Bride song?
Yeah.
Who's that? What was Suicide Silence?
Suicide Silence. Oh man.
But no, when so one time, it was like end of high school or a little after high school. I was going to max out. It was when I was going to max out on my bench press, and for whatever reason, the only music that got me hyped was Frank Ocean. Yeah. So I'm going there. I'm about to bench press like 400 pounds, and I'm just like, I thought that I was dreaming when you said you loved me. It's like, I'm just like getting hyped listening to Frank Ocean.
Collin over there, man, what's he listening to? And when they grab an earbud, it's like, oh.
But like, no, that was like what was getting me hyped. I was just like listening to Frank Ocean, like, yeah, let's go. Like,
I feel like for me, like a good love song will also get me hyped. I'm like, oh, I feel so loved. Like, you know what I mean? And then you want to get after it.
It was just for whatever reason, Frank Ocean was the only thing that would get me hyped. Like I tried turning it to like Kendrick or Kanye or whatever.
Right.
But like I would just turn up the Frank Ocean and be like, oh, let's go. Like,
no, I agree. Like it really depends on the song. I don't know. Again, everybody's different, which is kind of cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I think that's really cool how, like, for instance, I like country music. I don't love country music. I will listen to it, but I won't go out my way to find a lot of new artists. And I think it's neat how there are people out there who literally, you know, they'll stan these country music artists, and that's awesome to me. You know?
Yeah, no, like, country's interesting to me because I feel like country, and I've had this conversation with Trey on the podcast before, but country music is easily the most, like, bastardized music.
Yeah?
Like, especially nowadays, like, a lot of it is just so, like, formulaic. Like, they just... You could just enter in like 10 words into a random song generator and just shit out a country hit. Like that, it's just how it works.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, no, I do agree with that, and I feel like a lot of that could be said about a lot of music in general, such as like okay, I feel that way too about some of the rock I listen to from like not a lot, because like when I listen to Mississippi Queen. That is the most basic song I feel like ever written. Yeah. But it's hype. Like it gets the job done. Like I love the song.
But like country is just so like it's every song you hear like on the radio now. And that's why like there's kind of like I'm not gonna call it a revolution. That word might be a little too extra. But like people are starting to become bigger fans of like underground like Texas country now.
Interesting.
than they are like mainstream big country. So like,
Right.
God, what's his name? What?
Luke Bryan.
Jeez, no, not Luke Bryan. Luke Bryan's awful.
He's pretty unpopular.
I don't listen to country. That's the first one that popped in my mind.
Well, like it's like Luke Bryan, Florida Georgia Line, Jason Aldean. They're the ones
Florida
that
Georgia
like.
Line. I'm definitely not a fan of.
It's trash. I'm sorry.
I
It
will
is
say this:
trash.
if there's an artist that I would recommend anybody get into, or artist, Dan and Shay's pretty good, but I also like, I really like, who is it? It was just in my head, and I completely forgot. Luke Combs. Luke Combs is not that bad.
Okay, I've heard of him.
He's very popular now, and I like his music actually.
I've heard of well, okay, I know a lot of people like Cody Johnson.
I don't know Cody Johnson.
Yeah, he's a Texas guy. Yeah, have you ever heard somebody be like, "Hey man, you listen to Kojo"? But like,
I hear it every 5 seconds in College Station.
yeah, no, but like, I've heard he's a lot. I don't listen to him, but I've heard he's a lot more of like a Texas country guy, more than like the big like national guys.
Mm-hmm.
There are big national guys that are kind of doing it too, like Chris Stapleton.
I like Chris Stapleton.
A lot of people love Chris Stapleton
like Chris
because he's going back to like more like 80s,
deep-rooted.
90s, yeah. And it's because he was a writer. He was
Yeah.
a country writer for like 25 years, and
Well-
then he was like, I'm gonna start singing.
Right, and I'd say the same too about Eric Church a little bit. Now he's very mainstream, but some of his work is, I'm not gonna say it doesn't have that 80s or 90s sound, but I can see where it's influenced because he's been in the country music for a really long time.
I like Eric Church, but he has a lot of. He's just one of those guys where I like his music. I don't know if I'd consider him country. That's like Sam Hunt. Like.
Is he the house party guy? Going to a
Yeah, I
house
think
party.
so.
I don't know, but like.
Saw him at the rodeo.
I guess like I like some of his songs. I wouldn't call him country.
And that's fair.
Eric Church, he did Springsteen, right?
Springsteen's
I
a great
love
song.
Springsteen.
Springsteen's probably one of my favorite country
I know a lot of people that hate Springsteen, but like,
They're dumb.
I love Springsteen. I think it's a great song, but I wouldn't say it's a country song.
And I would agree with that. If you're offering. But yeah, I do agree with that about Springsteen because it is. I don't know. I mean that piano. That's a very cool piano in it, and then like the whole. It's not very country.
Yeah. So like, I just think some country. Okay, Florida Georgia Line, Luke Bryan. The past, I don't know. Let's say like 8 years. Jason Aldean. All of that is like very much just like trash country.
I'd agree with that.
And I think, I don't know, I think country music is doing good about getting back to like actually being country music. But like right now it's just, you turn on like the highway on Sirius XM and it's just hot garbage.
Well, would you say the same about rap nowadays too? I'd say rap's pretty formulaic now.
Yeah,
I'd
but
say
not as much, just because a lot of rap goes off of lyricism, and even if a lot of modern rap isn't like super lyrical, it's still somewhat rooted in that, so there's still differences.
Right.
And a lot of it is based off of like the trap beats in the background
Right.
and stuff like that, so even if the lyrics are garbage, it can still be fun to listen to.
Right.
Because
I
the
agree with
beats
that.
can get so different, whereas country, you got a steel guitar, or
Right.
maybe a little bit of electric guitar and some banjo or a piano. I don't even know. It's a lot more, like I said, it's a lot more formulaic.
Right. And I would agree with that because I mean, when I think about rap, that's cool. Is like you have artists like Joey Badass, who are completely different from your Lil Uzi Verts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your lyricists, or you know, I don't know.
Well, you've got like the conscious rap versus like mumble rap,
Right.
is what everyone says.
And I tend to stray away from mumble rap, although I do get down to some Ski Mask Slump God.
I love Ski Mask. Yeah.
I can get down to some.
I don't think there are that many people that don't like him.
How can you not?
If you, that many people that don't like rap, or that like rap that don't like it.
Yeah.
He's just a very interesting. He's a fun character.
He is I
Like-
know. I really ship him.
I do like his style though, because he's got the Jamaican
Oh,
style.
we got a Jeep meetup. Holy crap!
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I'm
I
sorry.
can see their penis from here.
It's just dragging on the ground out of their doors that aren't attached. Sorry.
But anyway, well, I think what I love too about Ski Mask Slump God are his lyrics. Like in Catch Me Outside opening with Naruto, Ninetail, Foxcoat, Fur. I feel like a Gucci ad-lib burr. Like Coda the Coca-Cola mascot, Polar Bear. I put that sauce on lasagna that can make Garfield purr. Like that. I don't know. Those are some bars, if you ask me.
He's just. It's funny. Like
it is funny. Like and it's so like. And I think it's really neat too when rappers use really big words that are like fit context. I'm like, I would have never thought of that. And that always amazes me. Like
what's Faucet Failure?
Faucet Failure is really
Faucet
good.
Failure
Faucet Failure is really
is
good.
my song.
This is what that one song where it's like him screaming in the beginning and it gets me so hyped. I gotta find the name. You know what I'm talking about?
Nuketown?
No. Is it with X?
It might be. It's like him like it's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
off of You Will Regret.
It's
Is it
hold on, I have it.
I think it's Take a Step Back.
Yeah, Take a Step Back.
Yeah, that one's pretty high.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting to see, like, and once again, I think this is something I've talked about on the podcast before, but it's like, it's very interesting to see, like, how, like, rap is, like, the biggest brand right now. But, like, how that itself is splitting up into these different offshoots. And it always has, but so much more so now. Like,
I agree.
you've got your more old school style guys, obviously. Right. You've got your new school. You've got, like, the mumble rap, and then you've got the conscious rappers. You've got kind of like the comedic guys, like a Ski Mask, like a Lil Dicky, like an Ugly God. But you've also got, like, your, like, emo rap.
Yeah.
Like, Juice WRLD. Like, or, I mean, once again, we're not going to get into this again, but, like, Old Town Road with country, like, this country trap. It's something that's legitimately, like, new. Like, and I do think there's an audience for that. I think
do too.
Some people are going to, like, listen to that, and
I think
people already want more. Yeah. Well, I think it's already stopped being a meme, but it's still the #1 song on Billboard, which means people are playing it still.
And good for Lil Nas X. I mean, honestly, like
a lot of like country fans though are really mad about him.
They took it off the country Billboard.
Yeah, they took it off that. They're also talking about boycotting Wrangler jeans because he got his name put on him.
Literally,
which is it's stupid and petty.
Imagine caring that much.
Yeah, like
okay, hold up.
The kid's 19.
Okay, so without, once again, one of the rules on the podcast, we don't get political. So I'm not going to get political, but what I will say is I hate boycotts.
Yeah.
Like, literally, okay, there is such thing as like a rightful and just boycott, but most boycotts that are called nowadays by both sides, it's just like literally over the. Is there a duck in these bushes?
There's something.
Anyways, sorry. So most boycotts that are called nowadays, it's just like, why would you ruin something you love? Like, if you are buying this and in position to boycott this, why would you stay away from something that you personally enjoy just because of a political opinion?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not even really like political. It's just.
It's
I don't even know how to describe it. It's just.
It's just like I'm
pointless.
I'm never going to ruin or like exile myself from something I love unless like they're just like, oh yeah, all of our proceeds go to slaughtering African children.
Right.
Then I'm like, okay,
red card.
red card.
Red card.
But like literally, the things people call boycotts over there, like boycott this, boycott that. It's like, stop depriving yourself of things that you love, man. Like,
I agree.
That sounds super hippie-ish, but
yeah.
like,
no, but like it's right.
True.
It is true. I know. I feel like, again, I'm not trying to get political, but we're in a culture, where everything is. I feel like everybody can just everybody's opinion can go public and viral a lot quicker.
Well, you will say things over the internet you would never say in real life, and that's well known. But I don't think it's well understood.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I don't think people understand just how much. Like, here's the thing: I see people tweet out of pocket shit all the time. Do you know how often I hear people say out of pocket? Like, not much at all. And it's because you can log onto the internet, and I sound like I'm 40 right now, but bear with me. Like, you can log onto the internet, and you can just, like, shit out whatever you want into the world.
Yeah.
And with, like, little to no consequences, especially, like, maybe if you're older, you have a brand, or, like, if you're, if your boss follows you on social media, then maybe you can. But, like, especially with younger people who don't have, like, these attachments and these restrictions, you could just, like, crap out whatever you want onto the internet with no consequences. Right? Mm-hmm. And so it's insane, like, the type of stuff people will say.
I agree.
And it leads to people having these ridiculous beliefs. Like, I say this all the time. Like, furries should not exist. Furries are around because bullying stopped and the internet was created. Like, if we allowed bullying, we wouldn't have furries. And I'm not making the case for bullying here, but I'm also not making the case against it. Like,
yeah, I feel like there's I do believe in the concept of staying in your lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, so I think people are trying to over-prevent it in some ways by saying, like, this is what's... And this might come out wrong, and if it does, I apologize. But people are trying to be so, like, to the point where it's like, everything's okay, that we're not telling somebody when something's not okay.
Oh, I agree. Mm-hmm. I mean...
And so it's like, going to a park dressed as a dog and trying to get people to pet you is not okay.
I agree.
You need to see somebody.
I think it's healthy trying to fit in with the social norms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think there is wiggle room, and it shouldn't be. I'm not saying, like, it's a High School Musical, stick to the status quo, but, like, there needs to be order, right?
I do agree with that.
There needs to be order to some degree. You can't have people just, like... I'm trying to think of a way to say this without coming off as, like, a totalitarian dictator.
Yeah.
Because, like, I am very much, like, not... That is not who I am at all. That's not my belief at all. But, like, there needs to be some sort of social, like, order. Like, people should be free to be who they want.
Right.
But also there needs to be, like... You know what I'm saying? Like
boundaries.
There needs to be a boundary.
Yeah.
People are very comfortable letting a lot of others know what's going on in their personal lives too now with social media and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of things that were normally kept behind closed doors that kind of should be behind closed doors. Like, for instance, let's say I actually would have depression, right? And instead of keeping that within an enclosed circle of close friends, maybe a therapist, maybe blah, 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 for a lot of that now, a lot of people are willing to put publicly, which, again, I think that I don't know. It's interesting stuff. People are very comfortable.
People have not only... I'm fine with... I don't want to say, like, normalizing having mental illnesses.
Right.
I think it's good if people know that they're not struggling alone. I think that's amazing.
I do too.
But I think people are glorifying mental illnesses.
And that's what I was trying to get back. I was trying to say, when I was talking about people glamorizing suffering earlier, that's what I really mean in that. A lot of, like, suicide is glamorized, obviously, by our culture, and so is depression. And I think that that's something we should try and move away from, because it kind of takes away from the severity of someone actually having depression.
Yeah, no. It's, like, it really pisses me off. Like, I'm going to single out, like, Tumblr here, and I feel like it's not as bad as it used to be, But like, especially like 2014, 15, 16 Tumblr, it was like, literally, it was just a competition to see who could have the most mental illnesses. It was like, oh, you have depression and anxiety? Well, I have depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, and like whatever else. Like, people are self-diagnosing themselves with things and then glorifying them.
Right.
And like, I don't think people, it's because people, every human being has like just the natural urge to want to be special, to want to be like, oh, I am the only person going through this, like,
Right.
this is like, you don't have the same thing I do, I'm a special case, which is, everyone's different, obviously.
Right.
But like, there is, it is good to know that you're not suffering alone sometimes.
Right.
But like, a lot of people when they're dealing with with those type of things, last thing they want to hear is that like, oh, there are millions of people going
Right.
through what you're going through.
Right.
So people try and make their case special.
I welcome community in that regard,
Mm-hmm.
but I agree with everything you just said, and that people long to be special when I think there's nothing wrong with being normal. And
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's, I mean, you know, you can get defined normal and whatnot, but
Yeah.
just because you don't have depression doesn't mean that you can't be awesome in your own right.
Yeah. All right, how did we get here? We were talking about like rap. All of a sudden, we got on like this
Boycotts.
deep, like 10-minute tangent about like mental health, which I'm cool with. But like, how did that happen?
We
I don't
started
know.
boycotts, I
Yeah,
thought.
boy,
Yeah.
something about
And then
that.
we
I don't
made
know,
it.
man.
I mean,
We just ran with it.
we really
But,
did.
Yeah.
Maybe it
no-
all happened when I pointed out how big those people's penises were with the
Yeah. It made me depressed. I wish.
Jeep.
All right, that's. Anyway,
We get a word count on how many times the word penis has been said.
dude, this is probably the second most. When we talked about Game of Thrones, we had like a 30-minute segment where all we talked about was micro penises.
Micro penises.
It was kind of awful, but kind of hilarious. Like,
I remember, what was it? There was a. Did you ever have the app Brighton? Like, it was like.
Brighton?
So it was like 5 years ago. Or no, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was an app essentially where the whole point of it was, it's so sad. So, someone had a friend commit suicide, right?
Okay.
And so they made an app where they were like, you know what? This person never knew, like, all the nice things people wanted to say to them. So
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna make an app to where you can anonymously, like, you make an account and people, your friends will anonymously post nice things about you, right? Well, that's not what happened. It turned into people just shitting on them. And I remember my friend Jack, back in Tuscaloosa, we decided to start a rumor that he had a micro penis. And so we'd all we'd all say things like, "Hey, like for Jack Horton, micro penis," and like things like that. And it was really funny.
Yeah, no, that's like that that new thing people are putting on their Snapchat, the
Yeah.
on YOLO or whatever.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I think that's whack.
It was cool whenever they first came out with a first one. I mean, even then it wasn't even that cool. But now it's just getting obnoxious because that's all I ever see on my Snapchat stories. Like, one of my friends, that's all his story is just people like posting, and literally it's just like people saying like, I want to fuck.
Yeah.
And then
it's
he's
just-
like slide up. Like, that's
Yeah.
all he says. I'm like, dude,
I
like,
was about to
it's-
say, I'm tired of all the slide ups. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, I don't care enough about your personal life to know that this person thinks about you this way. Like to know someone anonymously thinks that you're a cool person and wants to bang.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that I'm just like, dude, like, grow up. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you're a college student and you're still doing high school things
Yeah,
like that.
wow, yeah.
Like you're still doing the TBHs, RDHs, all that.
There's a lot of gravity in that,
which
like what
is
you just said.
I've always
honestly,
thought
there
all that
is.
stuff was stupid. Like, I mean, I definitely, like, freshman year me, 8th grade me, definitely did the TBHs, RDHs.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's what everybody did.
Right.
But then, like, now it's just like, okay, like,
See,
it's died.
it's almost like looked
Stop.
down upon. Like, I remember over the summer, I went bowling a lot with my friends, and we always, like, whoever got last had to, like, do something stupid. And I remember I got last, and I had to post a TBH on my Snapchat story. Like, that was, that was our punishment. to like have to
Yeah.
go through the pain of posting a selfie and saying TBH, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that is true. Like in middle school, it was cool.
Middle school, like
Here's the
freshman
thing
year was
with
cool.
me
but-
is that I was one of those little edgelords that was like, oh, this is all stupid. Like, if you ever see me post a TBH, just kill me. Like, that was me, which, you know, I agree with 8th grade me a little bit there,
I'm
or like younger me a little bit there, but also like younger me was such a freaking edgelord. Like, if I could talk to like 8th grade me, I'd be like, just chill out, man. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like,
Yeah.
I was one of those guys that's like, I only listen to classic rock. If you listen to anything that's not classic rock, you're just stupid. You don't know what real music is.
I
Like,
know someone like that.
like it's I would just like slap myself in the face and be like, grow up, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If I could talk to 8th grade me, I'd probably go back and tell myself to quit being a little bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
I would too. I feel like I'd also like would like to let myself know like what you said, like it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
like live a little. Like quit being so self-absorbed.
like no one's gonna think you're any cooler because you reject everything popular. Like,
Right.
that like I wasn't emo, don't get me wrong. Like I was even like I wasn't like in like the it crowd or whatever you want to call it, but like I was friends with all of them.
Right.
And I probably could have been if I wanted to, but it was just like, it was one of those things where I was just like, I reject this culture.
Right.
Like, if you say swag, like, I think you're the stupidest person alive.
Yeah.
Like, and like, like I was just such a little edgelord. Like, calm down. Like, oh, jeez.
It really didn't matter.
yeah.
No, it didn't. And it's one of those things where, like, you know, you live and you learn.
Yeah, it's true. Learn through
Um,
experience.
But I don't know. I wish I would have been a little more with it back then. I would have been a little more willing to just like get into like culture in general.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, like 2011, that was a different time, man.
It was. I don't know if I'd tell myself to live any differently because I like where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But I do agree with like I would have told him to loosen up more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because here's the thing, like, I was never one of those kids where I was like, why am I not popular? Like, that was never me. I was just one of those kids like, why is anybody popular?
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to have a social hierarchy, bro? Like,
yeah. I agree.
it's all stupid. I was also just like, my way of getting out of situations was just punching people in the face.
Really?
Back then. Oh yeah, because here's the thing. I was an absolutely massive middle schooler. Like, I'm bordering on 6'2" now, like 6'2", 285. So like, that's big, you know.
Yeah.
When I was in 8th grade, I was like about 6'1", 230 pounds.
Wow.
And I could bench press my weight, right?
Wow.
So I was for lack of a better words, I was a big chungus
You were a
back
unit.
then.
You
Like,
were a
I was a
unit.
unit.
And all the size of that
as
lad.
a child, as like a young middle schooler, which like eventually everyone else caught up, you know, so it is what it is.
Right.
But like, so like literally any time somebody would just like, the first few times it was because I would punch people, it was just because like they were annoying me and they deserved it. Eventually it just got to the point where it was like, I want to punch somebody, bro.
Yeah.
And like, I would just like find an excuse. Somebody would like mouth off to me, and I'd just turn around and I'd knock the crap out of them.
Right.
And it's like, it got me because I used to be bullied really badly. So it got me out of that because people were like, hey, if you talk crap to him, he's going to destroy your face. So like, it got that message across, but it also turned me into like a little bit of a recluse
Yeah.
because no one wanted to talk to me. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I had my friends, don't get me wrong, but like, it was like, okay, we would bully him, but he'd beat us up, so how about just isolate him completely?
Right.
Which was worse? I'd rather be bullied.
See, the thing for me was in middle school, I was very small. Like, I don't know if I say small. I was very average, right? but I was a very sensitive child in middle school. For instance, like when I would get called gay and things like that, like I absolutely took it to heart.
Yep.
Like and then
Oh, yeah.
eventually you have to learn that if you just go along with like you're like, yeah, I'm gay, like you know, like obviously I'm not gay, but if you go along with it, it just takes away the satisfaction. It took me a really long time to actually grasp that concept. So when someone would be like, hey, Don's gay, I'd be like, I just go cry about it. You know what I mean? like I'd just be like, you win. You know, you go home, you take a shower, and you cry. And then your mom's like, well, Don, why are you crying? I'm like, apparently I'm gay. So, you know, so I wish I, but honestly, a lot of those guys that did call me gay, they ended up becoming my best friends in high school.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm thankful. I wouldn't change anything about it. Like, I'm glad I was that sensitive child because eventually you learn from it. But I totally understand that whole idea of what you're talking about, being the recluse and everything.
Yeah. And, you know, I got over it. Like, I think 3 of the kids that I beat up was because they said something about my mom.
Really?
Yeah. Like, this one kid was just like, your mom's a fat whore. And I beat the ever-living crap out of him and sent him to the hospital.
Just shit fury on him.
Yeah, like,
Did you just send him to the hospital?
I sent multiple kids to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Tell them with the bus story.
I'm not going to tell that story.
Yeah, never mind.
That guy is actually one of my good friends now. Sup, Joey? we don't talk about that anymore because it's really awkward. But
Yeah.
we're really good friends now. But no, like, I was just such a recluse, and it, like, maybe the first few were worth it because it got people off my back, but after that it was just like I was fighting to fight.
Yeah.
Or I was fighting because I wanted people to see me as big and strong or whatever, and it just got me isolated. And, you know, I had, like, my handful of friends, and that was, like, all the social interaction I got. If they weren't around, tough tits, you know?
Tough tits. Yeah, I feel that. What about you, Zach? What was middle school like for you in that regard?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I know what middle school life was like, so I'm going to sit back and listen to this.
I just saw him grin. Like immediately when I asked that, he just grins.
My middle school experience was, I mean, like I said earlier, I was a little emo kid.
Yeah.
I got really depressed. You remember my 6th grade story? How I almost got arrested.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
You want to tell that?
Yeah,
or-
I'll tell
okay.
it. So, 6th grade, there's this girl that I was in band class with.
There's this girl, like
And
almost arrested.
It gets so
Yeah,
bad.
it's bad.
It's actually really, like, fucking heartbreaking.
It's real fucked up. But anyways, so we were in the same class, and she had a crush on me. This girl was not pretty at all. Like, not my type.
Yeah.
Not about it.
Right.
And she would, like, stalk me and stuff. And then, like, there was one time we were, like, walking or something, and she, like, forced me to, like, hold her hand. And so I just, like, pulled my hand out and ran away. Well, then a couple days later, and people are like, yo, did you hit that girl? I was like, no. And they were like, well, that's what we heard. Like, she told us, like, you hit her and this. And I was like, no. And then so it ended up becoming this big wave of just rumors that happened. And it got to the point she'd be telling people, like, yeah, he, like, walked through the hallways and, like, slammed me into lockers, like, pushed me into lockers.
Oh my
He
gosh.
punched me a couple times and stuff. And I'm like, I didn't do any of that. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a pacifist, but, like, I'm definitely not very,
Yeah.
I'm not a physical person. Like,
Yeah.
I don't just do stuff like that. And so, you know, you got a bunch of 6th graders, they hear a juicy story, and they obviously believe it.
Right.
So I started losing, like, a lot of friends. A lot of people, like, started to not like me. And she just kept going with it. She kept going with it to the point, like, she got into her grandma's emailed the constables in my town, and all this, and my parents, like, come up to me the next day and they're like, we just got a phone call from the constables, like, yeah, have you been beating up a girl? And I'm like, no! Like, I haven't been doing anything. That whole thing, like, started up, like, my depression throughout all of middle school. Because, like, that fucked everything for me.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, I don't know. So, she emailed the constables and all that. And that kept going on. And I basically had to go sit in the principal's office, explain myself to the principal and the constable sitting there. Thank God my parents are very good friends with the constables in the town, I guess. They just went to church together, or they go to church together and stuff. And so, like, he didn't really believe it in the first place, so, like, I'm glad I had that on my side, but it was a really bad experience, and that girl ended up having to move away.
So it turned back on her.
Yeah, it definitely turned back on her.
That's good.
And, like, I was, like, petrified for years. And she actually somehow got a hold of, like, my phone number or something.
Oh,
made
my
a
gosh.
fake name and was, like, messaging me.
Like catfishing,
Yeah,
essentially?
like, catfished me.
Wow.
And, like, pretended to be or she was really good friends with like my 6th grade girlfriend at the time. And then my 6th grade girlfriend, like, introduced this fake person to me and stuff. And then my 6th grade girlfriend broke up with me and then tried to get me with this fake person.
Oh.
And then I
That's so
figured out,
heartless.
wait, this isn't who it was. Like, I don't trust social media like that.
Yeah, wow.
And stuff. And yeah, no, it was terrible. And so, like,
How do you recover from something like that?
Yeah, I know. Like, I feel like she deprived you of, like, touch, which cultivates men and women. Like, or like not in that regard, but I mean, like,
But yeah.
like, it's sad.
I don't know. It was screwed up, and honestly, like, I wanted to die. Like it was terrible. Like, I was definitely like, I might as well just, like, kill myself, kind of deal.
Ooh, yeah.
And thank God for my homie Sean.
Shout Sean.
Who I told him that, and he went and told his parents and told my parents that, like, that's what I was thinking. So like, thank God for my homie there.
Yeah.
It's also, I think it's really cool you just actually said that, because I feel like a lot of people are too scared to tell parents that someone they know, like their son is going through that, because they don't want to look uncool in front of that friend. But, like, I'm very, like, good on Sean for doing that, actually.
No, it was a whole mess. And then there was, like, 2 years later, I heard that she was going to be coming back to Mag, and I was like, I'm getting a restraining order.
Yeah.
Like,
Did
if
you?
I never had to, because she moved to Houston.
Okay.
But it was just like, no, like, it's still something, like, today, I'm like, if I ever see this chick again, I'm getting a restraining order if she ever tries to come near me again. That, like, because that's what really screwed up my junior high experience.
Dude, that's absolutely traumatic.
Yeah. I've never gone into that much depth about it
Yeah.
and stuff, but yeah, that's...
Hey, the podcast is all about healing, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, the healing process, right?
Healing. But
Maybe I should write a hit.
But no, like, yeah, that stuff always messes with me, man. Because here's the thing. I'm well aware, like, I think it's only 2% of allegations are false.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that 2% messes people up. So, like, there's a story, and I'm not one of those people, once again, don't want to get too political, but I don't feel like this is a political issue. Some people do. But, like, women have it fucking tough.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something I'm debating against.
Right, I agree.
Bad things happen. It pisses me off. But what I will say is that, like, the 2% of false allegations do absolutely ruin lives.
Yeah.
Like, there's this guy named Sean Oakman. You ever heard of this Sean Oakman meme?
That's such a sad case.
So, like, Sean Oakman first got famous. He went to Baylor. He was a meme because dude was 6'9". He was 6'9", 280, pure muscle. Dude was just stacked.
Huge, man.
Is this
Like-
one of the Baylor?
No.
You said he went to
It's not one of
Baylor?
those.
Oh.
It's not one of those.
Oh, okay.
But It was. I think it was a little before that.
Yeah.
Dude was just stacked though, right?
Boy.
He's projected first round draft pick, and everyone was like, "Okay, dude, this dude's gonna tear up the NFL." He wasn't the most skilled player on earth, but if he got that skill, he was like J.J. Watt
Right, like
potential, right?
definitely one of the most athletic guys
Yeah.
of his stature.
So like, this guy coming into the draft, everyone's expecting him to like first rounds. All of a sudden, these like rumors start floating around that like he had been. I don't want to misquote it, so it was either hitting a woman or he raped a woman. I don't remember which.
I think it was rape.
Yeah, you can look it up
I'm
if you
gonna
want
look it
to.
up.
But yeah, so these rumors start floating around, and he's like, no, they're not true, they're not true. He starts slipping down the draft boards. He starts going further and further down. They're like, oh, okay, like, you know, these allegations are troubling. We don't want to take somebody with this much baggage. He ends up going undrafted because of how
sexual assault.
yeah. He ends up going undrafted because of the allegations. They keep investigating. He doesn't even get signed as an undrafted free agent. They keep on investigating. Something like 4 or 5 years go by. Finally, like, not even a year ago, like 3 months ago probably, his name finally gets cleared. And like, there's this clip of this man, like 6'9", 280-pound, jacked man, and he's sitting there like in an interview or something like that, or on the streets after he had been declared like innocent, and he's just crying because like this man had all of these opportunities that he had worked his butt off to earn.
Right.
Like, I don't think some people realize how hard it is to get a shot at the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it is insane. And this guy worked his butt off for years and years and years. And then just one false allegation ripped it all away. And he's just sitting there just crying. And he's like, mate, I just pray to God that like one day I'll get another chance. And I honestly, I've heard that he's interested in like the smaller, like not like Canadian football league,
arena football, something
XFL, like
Right.
those small leagues. I've talked about signing him, but it's like, in all likelihood, he will never play in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's because of that allegation. It's like, it is real, like, it sucks, man.
Right.
And once again, I'm not trying to like take away like the legitimacy of the claims that women make, but like those false allegations, like, I mean, like, as you just
Nobody
like,
wins.
it's terrible.
And like,
It should, the sentence for that should be not quite the same, but up there with the same sentence that you would get for the allegation itself.
Well, but just one quick thing, piggybacking off that, I agree with everything you said. Like, women have it so tough, and like, you know, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. Like, it is so tough for them. But Alabama just recently, again, I'm not trying to give political, just a quick statement. They, in a new bill, they're having they're going to sentence people who make false accusations.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. I think that's
good.
I think that is good. And it also, you know, it applies to men too. Like the whole the guy who was on the show, what was it? Was it Empire?
Oh jeez. Okay.
The gay guy, and
Yeah.
who claimed to have been beaten by men for being gay, and
Well, that ended up, he did go to court for that because he lied under oath.
He lied under oath.
Committed perjury.
But
That's
I'm saying is
a
it
whole
applies on both
situation in
sides
itself,
too.
yeah.
That my whole point of mentioning that was it does happen.
Yeah.
It's not just women who do it. It's also men.
Yeah.
I just try to little light on that.
Yeah, no, that, dude, like,
Nobody wins when that happens,
one
though.
wins. No one wins.
That's the thing. Nobody
Yeah.
wins.
no,
But-
I'm glad well, I wouldn't say I'm glad my situation happened, but like, because I kind of wish it never happened.
you live and you learn.
Yeah, you live and you learn. Like, but I'm glad it happened at the time that it did, because like I feel like something like that nowadays would go so much further.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like back then, 6th grade, I didn't have social media. Like nobody had social media and stuff. I feel like
That could be national news.
yeah,
Like, think about that.
like I feel like nowadays, because like stuff is easily blown up like that, and it's easily blown too far and stuff. Like, I'm glad it happened when it did, because I feel like if it happened while I was like in high school, for instance, like my life would have would have been over.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got social media. Probably would have had to go to court.
Right.
Because they would have
Could have been tried as
believed
an
it.
adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, that's so.
Like I
that
could have.
statement.
Like I could have. Like probably actually gone to court and gotten arrested for it. I'm glad we knew the officer.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's interesting that when people you grew up with are now being arrested for actual things. I don't know if that's happening to y'all, but one of my
Oh, yeah.
one of
No,
my
it
friends
has.
from high school just got arrested for robbery. He's on $60,000 bond
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
Our school has a collection of mugshots.
No, it's definitely interesting seeing. I don't want to. I have a collection of all of my friends' mugshots.
Oh yeah, I do
Which
too.
and a lot of these people aren't like my good friends, but like people that I've been friends with before.
Right. Like you know them on a first name basis.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, so like these guys that I went to high school with, I mean, it's just funny, and it's funny how life is just like I'm only 2 years out, y'all are 1 year out.
Right.
It's funny how life is just like already happening. Like you've got people married, you've got people in jail, you've got people. I mean, not to get depressing, but you've got people dead. I don't know if y'all do.
Yeah.
We've got like at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 people from my class have already passed.
Really?
Yeah.
How big was your class?
Is 600-ish.
Okay.
Actually, I don't have anyone from my class that's died.
Really?
My class out of my high school is the first class that hasn't had somebody pass away like during high school or like
Congratulations.
immediately after.
Well, yeah, that's
Like
good.
it's
Like actually.
our class got very lucky.
Yeah.
I actually, the only person I've ever known to pass away really was like I had a friend, and when I was like 7th, 8th grade, he died in a hunting accident.
Oh.
It was tough. It was very tough in the town,
Yeah.
but that's really about the only thing. Because my town, we were blessed. We really didn't have any of those kind of things happen, thankfully.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting how life is already like happening to everybody.
Life is
Like like right off the bat, like they're like, all right, you're in the real world now after high school, and you're like, I'm not in the real world yet.
Right.
And then
Yep.
like something happens, you're like, oh shit, I'm in the
Yeah.
real world.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
it's real life really be happening now. And I know some people might be listening, they're like, all right, you freaking kids, like, yeah, things happen, but it's like that's legitimately a revelation sometimes. It's like I'm no longer like protected by like, I don't know if you want to say protected by the public school system, but like
yeah.
You're definitely isolated.
Yeah.
I feel like
you can no
There's-
longer claim innocence.
Yeah, there's a different there is a big difference between like high school and then the real world.
Yeah.
And like you can just tell because I have a lot of friends that are still stuck in high school and they're in the real world, and it's like, dude, like grow up,
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Well,
It's just
See, for me, it was like I was still in high school for a really long time until I had like an event happen to me that I'm really not gonna get into.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
like,
you
yeah,
don't have to.
but yeah. But essentially, it humbled me, and it made me realize I gotta grow up. Like,
Yeah.
I can't live like this anymore because like I got lucky in it,
Mhm.
and so that was kind of what my whole thing was. Like, sometimes people just need a really good slap to the face, and even then they
Yeah.
might not even grow up, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, no. I remember high school, dude, I don't know about y'all. High school went like not according to plan for me at all. And I was just so glad I was finally done when I graduated. Like, well, I say glad. I was like completely emotionless to the point where it scared me.
Really?
Like, my buddy Rob, shout out Rob. But like when we graduated, Rob, he came up to me and he was like, "Yeah, we graduated," and he like, you know, like one of those like high five handshake hybrid things, like quick hug, and he was like, "Yeah." And then I felt nothing. Like I tossed my cap into the air and I was just completely apathetic. Like I was just like that, like I don't care. Like
Yeah, I was very depressed actually when I graduated. I loved high
Really?
school. High school was very good to me.
I liked high school. I liked the second half of high school. My first half of high school was terrible, but that
Really?
was also I was focusing a lot on like relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
Girls, yeah, like
Yeah, no. Change you some tail.
it's like I don't know. I like the second half of high school, but like I've always like ever since I graduated, I kind of wish that I could go back, not for the like reason that I'm stuck in high school myself, but for the fact that like I kind of miss it. I miss not having a lot of responsibilities.
I miss that lack of responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's like it was nice.
Yeah.
And so
I will say we should wrap it up here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. We don't have to like immediately end it, but yeah.
Right.
No, it was definitely an interesting time in my life. It's just nothing really went according to plan. Whether it be just injuries or just not fitting into the groups that I thought I would.
Yeah.
It was just like some things that I thought would happen just didn't.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it just goes down like that sometimes. And like we've kind of said a few times, like you live and you learn. Like you go through it and you're like, all right, well, that sucked, but like I am who I am today because of all that suck.
Yeah.
And I gave like my high school testimony at the high school camp of last year that we do at the camp that we work at. I got up there and for like 20 minutes I told a bunch of like 150 random high schoolers. I told them about like my life in high school. And it's like, you know, like it sucked. Like there's no way around that, but like I wouldn't go back and change it.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like I am who I am today because of like all the girls that rejected me.
Yeah. I think, well, for me, I was blessed by going to a high school
Tranq.
with a graduating class of 40 people. So like I went to an academy and a private school. And because of that, it was easy to be a big fish in a small pond. So because of that, I was able to reap all its benefits, where I feel like the difference is that's what made it really hard to transition to college. Going to a college with 27,000 people versus a high school with like 200. So that was a scrotum to the chin. I won't lie. So
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
I only remember that because you remember Ray William Johnson?
Yeah.
Remember when Air to the Knee was popular? He was like, I'm gonna make scrotum to the chin popular, and he said it that entire video. I thought that's genius.
Key and Peele, I put the pussy on the chain
Yeah,
wax.
I actually used to say that.
Really?
Pussy on the chain wax. I mean, not. I said it ironically.
Yeah, exactly. No, but
Ray William Johnson got fired from his own YouTube channel. Did y'all know that?
yeah.
I didn't know he got fired from. I thought he just stepped down.
No, he got fired from his own YouTube channel.
How
What
does
did
that
he
happen?
do?
I think it was like drugs or something.
Really?
I don't know, but yeah, no, because he was equals 3.
Yeah, dude, I
equals
loved
3,
it.
and
Loved
then all of a
Equals 3.
sudden, Ray William Johnson's gone from his own channel, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
I loved Ray William. Like I used to be obsessed with his channel, along with what was it, Breaking LA, that little side channel you used to do. Then he had Your Favorite Martian.
Your Favorite Martian was.
Those songs were
amazing.
my jam in middle school, and I went back and listened to them, and they're so bad.
But
Like,
they're still
Doing
dude.
your mom,
Yeah,
doing your mom.
Like dude, like I
They're-
loved Ray William Johnson.
I guess some of them are still a little catchy, but like it's just the humor is like 6th grade humor.
Yeah,
you know, like,
but I know I hated when he transitioned to edgy songs. Like
he
that's
started
what-
doing like covers and stuff like that, or like trying to be serious, and I was like, get
I
out
was
of
like,
here.
stop, stay in your lane.
Doing like love songs. And I was
Yeah.
like, what are you trying to do?
yeah, like
here?
Ray, you're not fooling anybody. Keep singing songs about your balls. Like this.
Yeah, like
Like, come
one
on.
of a guy I knew in 8th grade, my school in 8th grade got iPads
Yeah.
as like a test thing for our district, and it was just the 8th graders at just my school. And one guy got his iPad taken away because he was playing Bitch Got a Penis on
See,
it.
that's so funny.
Who's got a penis? Bitch got a penis. It's funny the first time you hear it, and then after literally the second time you hear it, you're like, I want to die.
Yeah, that's fair. I still feel like if I could listen to one song that was actually really good was Bottles of Beer. It actually has some really good lyrics.
Well, that's not even an original song.
Is it not?
No.
His verses?
Oh, his verses.
Yeah, I obviously know the chorus. You know,
Okay,
the Bottles of
yeah.
Beer. No, I mean, but like, it was neat, his approach.
Okay. Well, we're going to end it in a few minutes here, but I want to bring up a story that you kind of muttered under your breath and you haven't heard at all. And some people listening might already know it, but it is the horse Tranq story. It is, truly, it is a story to behold.
I love this story so much.
Yeah, it sums up like my dating life throughout high school, because I didn't have a dating life throughout high school. All right, so it's my sophomore year, and I'm crushing on this girl pretty hard, but there's like no reciprocation, right? At first. And so for like a month there's no reciprocation. I'm like, I'm friend zoned, but it's better than not talking to her at all, I guess. Secretly crying in my shower.
Right. Typical fetal position.
Typical, yeah.
Thumb in mouth.
But so after about a month, finally things are. She kind of seems to kind of be flirting back. I'm like, oh, what do we got here? Okay. And so we're talking. And I was in an improv troupe my sophomore year.
Okay.
I was in my school's improv troupe, and we have a show one day, and it's like 3 hours after school, so I just stay after school, you know.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And, oh gosh, I hate. So, I'm sitting outside of. Do you know what a black box is?
No.
So it's like where the theater classes are held.
Okay.
It's a
Literally
It's a
black
big-
box.
Big black box.
It's a black box room. It's a room that is a black box. That's why it's called a black box. Anyway.
So on the name.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm pacing outside of our black box, and I'm like kind of just getting in my zone. You know, you can't warm up or rehearse for improv.
Right.
So I'm just like getting in my zone, getting ready to go, and the girl walks up to me, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Collin, how you doing?" We're like talking for a little bit, and I'm like, "All right, like, all right, let's go." And we talk for, not long, like a minute or two, and then she goes, "Okay, Collin, well, good luck at your show." And the rational brain would say, "Oh, thank you. Like, I'll do my best," or like, "Have a good night," or "I hope to see you there." Something like that. My brain is not a rational brain. And my brain is like, "Oh God, what do I say? I don't know what to say to this girl. Like, I like her a lot. How, like, everything's going through my brain." And I'm like, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? And I grasp onto these two words. And I'll explain the reason why I think I might have said these two words after I say them. But I grasp onto these two words for no reason at all. And I look her dead in the eyes. And I just go, "Horse Tranq." In that voice. I realize what I've done. I sprint away and I don't talk to her for 2 years.
Oh my god. Horse Tranq. Oh my god.
In that voice, just "Horse Tranq." Like, literally, I did not talk to her for 2 years after that.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
And I think the only reason those words were in my head was because there was a rumor that some guy had thought that he was taking acid. He was actually taking horse tranquilizers. So I think that's the reason why those words were in my head. But it was still just like, what the hell, Collin?
I picture you kind of leaning into it, like you're about to whisper something profound. And,
that would have been
sweep her.
great too.
Yeah, just and then
No,
you just deliver.
It wasn't even
Horse
that.
Tranq.
It was just look at her straight in the eyes, just "Horse Tranq." Booked it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. That really is.
Yeah, and I won't say the girl's name for her sake.
Shout out to her though.
Yeah, shout out to her. We actually ended up we're friends now, not like
Against all odds.
Yeah. I'm not trying to flirt with her or anything, but yeah. No, we're friends now, so we didn't talk straight out for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's that.
That is that.
It was good having you guys on. It was
Yeah,
definitely
It was an honor. I enjoyed
interesting doing this with somebody that's not Trey. It's our first one without him. He'll be back, don't worry. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
thanks for having me.
Thanks for having
closing
us.
remarks. Yeah. All right. Well, listeners, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, thank you for tolerating the cars in the backgrounds. I'll see if we can do anything about that so it's not unbearable. Yeah. When I listened back to it, it seemed like some nice ambience, like ambient noise in the background, but also like I could definitely see how some of the louder parts might have just been like,
right,
just annoying as crap.
Thankfully there's no sirens either.
Yeah.
We got all of those out of the way.
Yeah. It was like 5 minutes per hour, all you could hear was whoop, and then now we're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys. That was good.
Yeah, for sure.
We're out.